We're jumping into a little board game Q&A here. Looking at your collection, what is that one title or top five titles in that tier? Picking out one that is just brutality. The game is super hard mode. The dice, the cards, the aspects need to align in order to pull off a win. And is that a good thing? Is a difficult title a representation of good board game design, and it just happens to be really, really tight and hard? So this way, when you win, hey, this is a big win. You feel good. You feel pumped. You feel excited. Or is it the board game design is just good enough? Let's just put the title out, and we'll cover over any mistakes, or we'll cover over any deficiencies in the rules by making it hard. The number one title in my collection, and if you've been following my channel, my board gaming exploits and enthusiasm, it's no secret that I'm a big fan of dungeon crawler type games and playing those aspects of the game. This is an old title from the 80s. So part of it has that 80s board game design feel. But it is also one that I regularly pull and regularly enjoy. Dungeon Quest. Dungeon Quest, the old Games Workshop title that was picked up by Fantasy Flight and reprinted and now is kind of existing in that limbo, which I hope we get a reprint soon because my play copy is very well played, but I'd love to get an updated copy with cards and miniatures. But essentially, Dungeon Quest, it's a very, very simple game. It's somewhere in between the main title, the main course that you would play, and a filler game. I define a filler game as a title that you bring to play with the board gaming group or club where you're waiting for the main event, right? 4 or 5 people are there. Someone's going to be a little late. Pull out a filler game. Or you play the main event and the club closes at 10 and it's 9 o'clock. Like, we can't start another game, but let's pull in the title quick to play. Dungeon Quest is that filler game, and it is very satisfying, but it plays fast. You play one of 4 heroes. You go into a really randomly generated dungeon and try to get as much loot as you can and escape. And the player that escapes the dungeon with the most loot wins. So it's dungeon crawler. It's competitive. In the center of the dungeon is a dragon sleeping. That's where the real loot is. So you're trying to make it to the center, grab that loot, and get out. Now, at any time, assuming you're alive, you can bail out on the dungeon. You could go in, get a gem, get a couple of potions, get a magic sword. Everything has a gold piece value. And then you could decide, hey, I'm out. And as soon as you leave the dungeon, you can't go back in. So your score is set. But the dungeon itself, traps, changing rooms, ways to get killed, monsters, dead ends. It's randomly spawned by a bag or a pile of tokens that you pull, flip out, lay down, and advance your figure. It plays very, very quick. It is extremely deadly. It's like you need to sign a waiver and a disclaimer so there's no neckbeard or nerd rage ahead of time. Most likely you will die. I mean, there is a valid strategy of like going in, getting 1,000 gold pieces worth of loot and making it your way out. I mean, that does work, even if it's not the best possible or the most funnest. The tradition with my copy of Dungeon Quest, if you win the game, if it's a 4-player game and you win, or you're able to make it to the dragon's treasure and get out, you sign the box. Your name is immortalized. And whenever I play this, I like to set up my board games when I'm playing with a group and put the cover up so everyone can see. You know, you can kind of just see that title. I flip this around with Dungeon Quest and we see the inside of the box cover, all the signed names. And some are good friends. Some are rivals. Some are frenemies. Everyone that has sat down and won at my copy of Dungeon Quest deserves that respect, deserves that honor, because, and we'll have to double check this, we could double check it on BGG, survival rate for Dungeon Quest in an average game is 12%. A very, very interesting game. Purposely made hard. Rules are so-so. They could be much, much better, but considering it's 80s DNA, 80s BG tech, it's solid. You know, it involves a D6 and all that. But from that perspective, it is designed to be hard, designed to be punishing, designed to be random, designed to be killing you from that perspective. And can you make it in? So those titles in your collection, top 5, pulling out one of those, what is the hardest board game in your collection?